Have you ever had this happen, that they tell you that you're crazy and then they tell you that they love you in spite of that? So here's the scene. You're in a narcissistic relationship and you're gaslighted a lot. The upshot of the gaslighting is that you feel insane, confused, and above all else, you believe that there's something wrong with you. Maybe now you think that you're the one who's too sensitive, or that you're an angry person, or that you're too demanding, or fussy, or needy, or that you're a real handful, whatever it is. The gaslighting is not just that you don't remember things or that you aren't in reality, but also that there is something wrong with you. And it happens enough, and if it happened in childhood, it's probably your identity. And basically then, attachment or remaining in this relationship requires that you buy into this idea that you are the crazy, foolish, selfish, whatever one. And this is the really dark part. Then they turn around and say, hey, I still love you even though you're a mess. So their gaslighting is largely what has left you feeling like there's something wrong with you. And then over time, sadly, you sort of kind of believe the manipulation. But where people can really get stuck is that when you believe all the bad stuff, I'm too sensitive, I'm too dramatic, I'm a mess, I'm all over the place, whatever it is, that the narcissistic person kind of galvanizes or strengthens the trauma bond by telling you that they're willing to find you lovable, or do find you lovable despite what a mess you are. And sort of lurking under that is, and you sure are lucky you found me or have me in your life, because I'm willing to love you despite what a mess that you are. Nobody else would have done that. I have seen this happen time and again in intimate relationships. People being told things like, hey, you're lucky I have an appetite for crazy and drama and a hot mess, and I love you, even though that's who you are. You can see it in family relationships. We all love her chaos and her flakiness. It keeps us from being a boring family. Goodness knows that it's wasted our time and it costs us dearly, but we know that she needs our support. This could happen in workplaces where you might hear, everybody needs someone who's a little weird like this one to keep staff meetings interesting. We have to be patient with it and it can get annoying, but we like them being on the team. I'm sure you have your versions, right? And then this can happen in friendships. Oh gosh, we love how OCD she is. It means nothing gets forgotten on the trips. It's a lot to put up with because she can be a really obsessive handful, but we still love her. But the thing that these folks are saying, really, whether it's drama or chaos or weird or OCD, it actually isn't true. It's something that they are saying that you are and accuse you of being, but it's not true. And with time, because they say it so many times, you find yourself almost having to believe it to stay in the relationship. But then it's made to feel like they're doing you a favor for putting up with something that either isn't true about you or may be behavior that only comes out from having to navigate them. For example, you become this so-called OCD person because you have to stay on top of myriad details that an entitled or selfish friend can't be bothered with, and you have staved off disasters by staying on top of those details. The real challenge and key to surviving these relationships is to not believe the gaslighting narrative being given to you about who you are, whatever that is. Because if you hear something enough, you start to believe it. And especially in narcissistic family systems. Even if you're just being portrayed as the kooky or chaotic or dramatic one, at least it gives you some kind of discernible identity in a system that often has your identity shift based on what the narcissistic people want or need from you at any given moment. But by not buying into that narrative, then you have a fighting chance of seeing that their twisted conditional love. I love you even though you're needy. I love how weird you are. I really love how OCD you are. That either leaves you feeling like that A, nobody else would put up with you, and aren't you lucky that they do, or B, you aren't really lovable, and C, you're being liked for something about you that may not necessarily feel true. Well, needless to say, narcissistic relationships are where healthy love goes to die. And this isn't just unhealthy, it's distorted. Pay attention to this dynamic, and when you are told you are something that doesn't feel right or that it doesn't fit you, analyze it and ask, where did that characterization of me come from? Because that is often the fiction that is part of the whole gaslighted mess. And if they say that is why they love you, because you're messy and needy and crazy, and those things aren't true, then definitely the whole equation is out of whack because they love you for something that isn't true. What the hell does that mean? Healing is about knowing who you are. And the more we learn that the less vulnerable we are to internalizing the gaslighted narratives we're hearing. But if you grew up with this, it feels like developing your identity is like inventing the wheel. A place where this can really, really get tricky is, in some cases, the things that they may be accusing you of, gosh, you are so depressed, you are so anxious, but still love you. And you may be depressed and anxious. So the thing that they're saying that I love you and I'm putting up with this thing, once again, it does put you on your back foot. This sense that, okay, these things are true about me. For example, maybe it's not just that you're highly organized or have to stay on top of details, that you may in fact have OCD or OCD adjacent characteristics. And those are things you may be working on in therapy or depression or anxiety or anything. That you're basically being told like, yeah, you're not well, but I still love you. And that entire feeling can always lead you to feel like you're always in a precarious position in these relationships. But ultimately, these are never places where you ever feel fully safe. And then when you do find out that you're being loved because of something that's not true about you, if you thought these relationships weren't confusing before, they can always get worse. Thanks again.